4, 3, 2.
Hello, this is Jack Steele, Banker+Y. I'm missing my partner, George. George the Gorilla has decided to take a vacation day today. He wanted to go off to see Occupy Wall Street. He thought it was a better paying gig. For me, I agree to disagree. But anyway, I'm here to talk about bailouts. What I'm talking about is the bailout that happened in terms of Wall Street. That, basically 2 years ago, you had all the banks receive $25 billion or more. You had these banks such as Wells Fargo, Chase, Citibank, JP Morgan. All of these banks were receiving $25 million or better in terms of dollars to relieve and support their balance sheets. And some of these banks had balance sheets of over $1 trillion. But yet the government decided that it was best to bail them out. We needed $750 billion. They were loaned to them. And then in turn, they've been paying it back. And they've been, becoming stronger banks, etc. And part of that thing is, what's basically happened is they become stronger banks because they're not even lending out money anymore. So I don't know what to call them. They're basically a bank that only goes one way. You pay your bills and it never comes back out to the community. But it's being saved for a rainy day. That has its merits, and it also has its dismerits. Because basically what's happening is there's no new money moving into the economy. You have individuals who invested in homes. They bought in 2006, 2007, 2008. That's when the height of the mortgage-backed securities were occurring, where basically funding for new houses kept rising and rising. And what happened was individuals who earned only $35,000 could buy a $700,000 house. It was unconscionable. People were just, being shoved money just to buy a house. And the housing market, grew. It grew from anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 per month. People were like, this is a wild bandwagon. I gotta get on it. I gotta buy a house. So basically what they did was, here it is, Vegas. I'm gonna buy a house in Vegas because that's the place, the way to go. The stuff that stays in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, basically what happened with Vegas, it's one of the sand states and everything just fell apart. People bought houses for $200,000 and now they're worth $80,000. They lost $120,000. Do you know what $120,000 is to somebody? That's like a lifetime's worth of earnings, or not a lifetime, but at least a solid 2 or 3 years worth of earnings for some people that have $120,000. It's wiped out. It's gone if they sell their property. But what's happening is the government is ignoring all this because the government says these are personal property, and if they were bought as investment property, they would recognize the loss. But because they were bought for personal property, there is no loss. So what you have is hardworking Americans that are losing thousands of dollars per household, every one that has sold during this time period. What they need to do is they need to develop a bailout strategy that deals with the fact that if you had a loss, let's say, for example, we go back to Las Vegas. We have this individual. He bought it for $200,000. He sells it for $80,000. He has a loss of $120,000. What we could say is $60,000 he eats. That person eats that loss. The reason why they bought it was their fault. They bought it. But the other $60,000 loss wasn't their fault. It was the fault of basically all these banks that just basically drove up the price of real estate artificially. They created this big balloon, it went kaboom, and now who's left to pay but you and me, whoever owns this real estate that we bought for our own selves to live in. So what's happened is this person out in Las Vegas has lost $120,000. They recognize the $60,000, that's their loss. But the other $60,000 could be shown as a loss carry forward where you put it on your real estate taxes, and what you do is you take out $6,000 from your AGI for the next 10 years. If the number crunchers in Washington think that that's too soon, then do it over 20 years. So instead of $6,000 a year, it'd be $3,000. But at least that Joe Schmo, who's in basically Las Vegas, he would have something. It would be good for the people in Ohio. It would be good for the people in Florida. Anywhere where they've had this, where there was a huge run-up of real estate prices, and now they don't have it. That's my opinion. Thank you for listening. And tell your congressman, tell your senator, that's who's got to set this up as a law. You can call your real estate broker, and those people have real estate guilds or whatever they're called in terms of associations that try to push into law. Well, they need to do that. Stop worrying about whether you have 20% down to buy a house. At least help the people who are selling the houses that when they take this loss, it's not like a huge onerous loss, that they look at themselves going, what did I do to myself? Thank you.